Okay, so all of my paintings have been removed from the wall, and the walls have been prepped. I filled in all the holes and sanded, and I got quite a job here to do. And the reason it's taken me so long to post this next video is that I literally had to put the office project on the back burner for the holidays. We just had so much going on in the way of get-togethers and shopping and decorating, and my husband had to leave town a few times for work, so I just had to, unfortunately, put this on the back burner. But now I'm back with a passion. I'm ready to knock this project out. I'm so excited to see what it's going to be. So obviously my next step is painting, and after that I'll be assembling the furniture. Okay, so the paint that we're using on the walls is the color Mother Nature by Benjamin Moore, and I usually will take like a Benjamin Moore or Sherwin-Williams color strip to Home Depot and get it color matched in the Behr paint. As you can see, it's just a really pretty neutral green. It kind of has a little bit of olive in it, and it almost has like a slight candy apple green in there too. It's just kind of like a really nice, calm mid-color, and I just love it. Alright, my touch-ups are all done, and they're in the process of drying. Some areas had to take 2 coats because of the marks that I made were darker than the green, and most areas just had to take 1. I also used it as a moment to kind of touch up in areas where like my roller didn't sink in the grooves very well. The very first time that I painted this room was the very first time it was painted, or at least since the builder had built it, and the reason I can tell is because the walls just sopped up the paint like a sponge and left a lot of holes, and the ridges and the plaster were very deep. So in cases like that, it's best to use a roller with a thicker nap for semi-rough to rough surfaces, and it's also best to take a paintbrush afterwards and just kind of go in and just kind of fill in the little spots where the plaster grooves were just so deep and the paint couldn't get through. But I recommend waiting until it's dry, of course, to do that. I paint myself. It's not perfect, but with a little bit of patience you can get pretty good at it. And actually I do most of the work myself in the house. My husband's handy too, but more with like cars and mechanics and things like that. I'm a little bit more the painter slash small repair handy person, and that comes in handy, and I hope to share what I've learned with you guys over the course of these videos. So now that it's pretty much close to drying, my next step is assembling my furniture. Now, I said earlier that I plan to not utilize anything that I said earlier that I don't plan to buy anything new. And I do have a lot of stuff laying around my house that looks kind of like this, the modular presswood type solder furniture. And you know, over the years I've kind of steered clear of buying stuff like that, but I do have a few pieces that I've had for quite a while. I wanted to utilize them in here since this room doesn't get a lot of wear and tear, and get it out of the rest of the house where I'm incorporating more like all wood furniture. So here was an example of a piece that I had. It was from Target. It's missing the cardboard back. I actually took that off on purpose. And over in the corner was another one that I purchased from Target. It's matching this one. And I went to the store and I had pieces of very thin plywood cut, and that's going to be the new backer on these things. The reason I got plywood cut instead of using the cardboard backing is I want things to be sturdy. And believe it or not, simply putting something like a cardboard backer onto these pieces makes it a lot less wobbly. But think about when you're putting something like a thin sheet of plywood. It becomes so much more sturdy instantly, and it makes it just a better piece for longevity. So actually all these pieces were fashioned from very cheap cuts of wood at Home Depot. The neat thing is that if you go there with your measurements, they will cut it for you. And pretty much they're supposed to charge you, but I'm pretty sure that I was never charged for the extra cuts. Supposedly 2 come free, and then the rest are like 50 cents a cut, which is like ridiculously cheap anyway. So this is the piece that is made of melamine, and it's going to cover the top of my modular units over there and provide one smooth, consistent surface. This is the pieces that are going to back my Target 3 shelf stands. This right here is going to be the top of my project table. This is a piece of MDF particle board, but it is very, very smooth and very, very heavy and thick and nice for a tabletop. So I'm literally building units out of presswood pieces that I have that I want to utilize and take out of the house, and cuts of wood. Now, it's really not expensive to do it this way. For instance, this long plywood backer right here was part of a piece that cost me like maybe less than $13. And this is going to cover the backs of 3 of those modular units in the corner. And it's going to make it very nice and sturdy. This piece right here is going to cover the top of all 3 to make it look like one consistent unit. That was like $11. So I literally spent like less than 50 bucks in wood, and I have a lot of wood left over. And all that wood is going to help me build a table. It's going to help me build modular storage units in the back. And it's going to make everything that I already had much, much stronger and capable of lasting longer, you know, really for years to come. The main thing is just protecting the laminate surfaces, which, you know, by minimal wear and tear, they'll last quite a bit of time. And I realize that this is like the cheaper way to go, but honestly, it suits the needs for my daughter and myself. We're not trying to build a showroom. We're trying to build a room that we can utilize for a little bit of money. And, you know, something that looks nice and looks stylish, but at the same time is not going to break the bank. I'd rather spend that money like in my living room or my kitchen or my exterior furniture, things like that. Okay, so I cleared my first bookshelf and brought it over to the proximate place that it's going to be. I inserted 2 extra screws here at the bottom. Gotta be real careful with that. But I wanted to ensure that this was reinforced, and that was an area that seemed to be coming a little loose. And I'm not putting plywood backing on these because overall the structure of these are pretty sturdy. And also, I'm not going to be overloading them like I did last time. One of the things that I found that I thought would look beautiful was some contact paper. This is from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use this to cover the cardboard backing of this shelf unit. And then I'm going to re-nail it on with the contact paper. And I think it's going to be a beautiful combination of the wall color and the shelf color, and will come together and give the room a little more style and a little more whimsy. So here I go. Alright, and she's done. That took me about half an hour, and it's not too difficult to work with contact paper. You just don't want to be too OCD with it because you'll get like little bubbles and things like that. But obviously, standing back from a distance, you really can't see any of the oopsies that I did. The shelving were worked because of the weight from all the books. So what I did was I proceeded to flip them upside down. That way, when the weight is counterbalanced, it should hopefully straighten out. If I can't get that top one to straighten out, I'll probably just get another board cut in the same fashion that I got these other pieces of wood cut earlier. But I am just super, super in love with this. I just think that it really transformed this bookshelf and coordinated with the room pretty nicely without being too busy. And I'm so excited to get the rest of them done in the same fashion. This took me a little less than 3 rolls, so $3 to do that background and that color. Obviously, you have the option of painting too if you prefer to paint. But I love that contact paper because of the design that I was able to incorporate. I just think it's so pretty and makes a big difference for $3.